Hey everyone, welcome to the video. Going my cheat sheet for tomorrow's MLB main slate for tomorrow on DraftKings. And before we continue, if you could leave a like, subscribe to the channel, I really appreciate that. You also find me on Twitter at ChrisPinell16. And if you want access to this cheat sheet, my Slack chat, we talk all day in Slack chat, like all day, answer questions all day. Just have fun in there. My pitching model, hitting model with projections, a bunch of stats database, and my daily write-ups, and I'm probably forgetting something else. You get the link in the description below. Take you to my Patreon. We are over 70 members now. I really appreciate that. It's been about 1 month since I opened it up, and to be honest, it's doing a lot better than I thought it would. So you guys are very awesome. And for those of you who are solely on YouTube, I appreciate you guys as well. You guys are awesome as well. So anyway, if you hit the link in the description below, it'll take you here, and then you can choose whatever you want. UFC, PGA. Andrew's on fire with UFC. That is now, since we've been doing this, he's 9 out of 10 on the cash lineup. That he makes an example cash lineup. I don't give out lineups myself for MLB just because I do a whole bunch of work for MLB. Not to say Andrew doesn't do a lot of work for UFC, but that's just his stuff, so I let him do whatever he wants. But for MLB, I just spend so much time on MLB content. I think it's just silly to give away a lineup. But I do everything I can to help you build your own lineups for you guys to have a good night. Then we got PGA, NASCAR, NFL when that comes out. Very excited for that. MLB model and the All Access for $20. And if you want an example of what you would get for the MLB sheet, because you might just not know. So let's look at the pitchers. And I actually did add some more stuff onto this today. I was bored, so I thought I'd work on this. So it's got this is the pitching sheet. So if we take a look, we have the overall pitcher stats, the splits versus lefties, splits versus righties. Vegas when that comes out, the opponent. That's the overall matchup, so lefties and righties combined. Now I do have splits now, so that's the opponent splits versus lefties. So as you can see, Garrett Cole is very expensive tomorrow, but the matchup is not the best. So I'm probably not going to be paying up for Garrett Cole tomorrow, just to say that. I think he's just, I mean, he's a great pitcher, don't get me wrong. He's one of the best pitchers in the league, but I think I can get similar upside with Sonny Gray. So I do like Sonny Gray, which we'll get into that soon. And then we got the splits versus righties as well. Then we got some other stuff too, so and projections at the end. Which I don't think projections are the best thing to use for MLB because it's so variant, but it's like a nice baseline to use. Alright, so anyway, let's get into the cheat sheet. This isn't my favorite slate, I'm going to say, but do have my spots I do like on this slate. So Sonny Gray, 9,700. You get like 3K savings from Garrett Cole, which I think is massive, and I do think Sonny Gray's got similar upside. He's had 2 really good games versus Milwaukee recently. I know he had a 40-point game, and I think he had a 30-point game, if I'm not wrong, as well. So the thing with the Brewers is they're a good team, but they do strike out 25% of the time to righties, which is near tops in the league. I mean, they got plenty of good hitters, but Gray's been really good this season. To both sides of the plate, he's got a really high ground ball rate, and yeah, he's got a high strikeout rate to lefties. He's going to see a lot of lefties, and he's got a 30% or 31% K rate to lefties. So I do love the matchup for Sonny Gray, and he's just been a great pitcher this year. So liking the savings we get off of him from Robbie Ray and Garrett Cole, who are both really expensive. Then Trevor Richards at 7K. So this seems like the logical SP2 tomorrow to me. He's only 7,000, and he's going to be going against the White Sox, who own the highest strikeout percentage in the league versus righties at 26%, and they're just pretty much near bottom of the league in all stats when it comes to right-handed pitching. So I do like Trevor Richards quite a bit tomorrow. And outside of that, there really wasn't anyone that stood out to me. I'm going to be doing some more research into that tomorrow, so I'll have that out for the Patreon members. But as of right now, the third pitching option for me is TBT. Not sure yet, so I'm going to be doing some more research onto that. But for right now, those are my 2 favorite pitchers at the moment. Then a catcher, we got Mitch Garver, 5,400. So this game is one of the highest over-unders on the slate as the Twins mash against lefties. They're one of the best in the leagues versus left-handed pitching. And Garver's been elite versus lefties this season with an ISO above 400, which is massive. I believe as well was around 500 as well. So I do like Mitch Garver, but the price is the problem there. And CC Sabathia, I mean, he's not a terrible pitcher, but versus righties this season, he's giving up 245 ISO, so he has been getting hard by them, so there is home run upside here. Then Gary Sanchez, 4,500. Weird pricing on him. He's really cheap compared to Mitch Garver. But I do like the discount for him here versus Perez, who was in some lockdown pitcher, and I do prefer the righties against him. So I don't think the Yankees are in a bad spot whatsoever. They got so much firepower on their offense. And then if we're going to punt, Mathis or Gomes, assuming they're in the lineups, I'm doing this like at 9 p.m. on Sunday, so I don't know who's going to be in the lineups. I'm just projecting. But I don't mind them. They're in decent matchups. And then at first base, we got Matt Adams at 4,200. So the Nats are one of the top stacks of the night for me versus Peter Lambert. He's just a disaster versus lefty bats with a 353 ISO and a 404 WOBA. So I do think the lefties are in play here, and the Nats got quite a few of them. Not to say the righties aren't in play either. And then CJ Cron at 3,900, one of the better games for offense on the slate. And I love using Cron versus lefties. He owns a 322 ISO versus them this season, and he's below 4K, so that screams value to me. Then Jake Lamb at 4,100. Always like him versus righties, and Brooks isn't a very good pitcher, plus facing a bad O's bullpen, which I believe has, I think they're tied for the highest xFIP in the entire league. So do like Jake Lamb and the D-backs. The problem is, outside of Jake Lamb, these guys are expensive, which we'll get into soon. Second base, we got DJ LeMahieu at 4,800. So this was the position I had the hardest time with. I actually filled this out last because there just wasn't many guys that popped up as value. Usually I'm second base, I'm going down to Scooter Gennett or Jason Kipnis lately, but Jason Kipnis is facing a lefty tomorrow, so that kind of makes me not want to play him. But DJ is going to be leading off for the Yankees, so don't mind taking him. Then Ketel Marte, 5,200. I do think he's overpriced, but D-backs are one of the more interesting stacks of the night versus Brooks and the O's bullpen. But like I said, overly expensive, so they're just GPP plays only for me. I'm not going to be forcing him in any cash games whatsoever. Maybe Jake Lamb if he makes the cut, but CJ Cron or Matt Adams is kind of more of a cash game play for me. But I don't mind Ketel Marte and GPPs, and Scooter Gennett, 3,400. I hate playing him, and you guys probably do too. He burns us pretty much every time. I mean, he doesn't burn us. He's like not min-price, but min-price for a guy that plays a lot, and he's batting fifth, which, I mean, it's hard to pass up a guy that's that price, and that's about in the batting order. Yeah, although I will say I do like this matchup. I know I want the righties versus Chase Anderson, but it's his old team, so maybe we got some extra juice there. So it wouldn't surprise me if he broke out tomorrow, assuming he's in the lineup. Then at third base, we got Anthony Rendon, 5,200. I do prefer the lefties here, but wouldn't leave him off the table for full Nat stacks as he's their best overall player. I know Juan Soto's close, but Rendon is the number one player on that team. And then Eugenio Suarez, 4,500. He's actually one of my favorite plays tomorrow. We actually want the righties versus Anderson, as he's a reverse splits righty, giving up a ton of power to righties this season. I believe it's like a 225 ISO, and Suarez has not been bad versus righties. I believe it's high 200s, his ISO versus right-handed pitching. So I think that's a fantastic play. And I do think he has good BVP versus him. I think he's got 3 homers. So for those of you like BVP, fantastic play there as well. Then Arenado, 4,400. He always stands out when he's below 5K to me, and Fedde cannot strike out righties to save his life. He only has a 9% K rate to righties. So there's going to be contact made here, so the ball's going to be put in play, just a matter of how far. And then shortstop, Trevor Story, 4,900. Like I said, I'm way more interested in using Nat stacks. Wait, that's not Trevor Story. Trey Turner. Yeah, Trey Turner, 4,900. Like I said, I'm way more interested in using Nats than using Lambert. Turner has been much better versus righties this season, and he's got that insane stolen base upside, so I don't mind him either. Then Trevor Story, 5,200. He's got a 9% carry to righties, like I said, and Story's been actually really good versus righties this season with a 288 ISO, plus the Nats bullpen is one of the worst in the leagues. They're up there with the Tigers and the Orioles, so plenty of damage to be done here for the Rockies. I know they're outside of course, but that just means their prices are better. Then J.P. Crawford, 3,800. He's actually been pretty good versus righties this season. He's got a 220 ISO and a 344 WOBA. So I don't mind going with him. There really wasn't any cheap shortstops I like, so maybe if one pops out that gets a good spot in the batting order tomorrow, maybe one will pop up as a good value, but as of right now, that's all I'm seeing. Then the high-end outfield, we have Charlie Blackmon at 5K. I'm really liking this Nats-Rockies game. The more I was doing my cheat sheet, the more they were popping up to me. So I do think it's a pretty good stack tomorrow, and even though it isn't in cores, it just means everyone's cheaper, so I do like that. And then Blackmon is also 5 for 5 versus Fedde in his career, so that's not bad either for those of you who like BVP. I know some of you like that. I'm not the biggest fan of it. If it's a good matchup, that's probably why they're doing that good versus them. But I mean, you can't be 5 for 5. And then, so obviously he sees the ball well from him, but Charlie Blackmon's always been good versus righties, so that's what I kind of think it more is. But either way, Juan Soto, 4,900. Love all the Nats lefties here, and Soto is the top play out of all the Nats, in my opinion, when you just bake in the price and the overall matchup. I know Anthony Rendon, I said it's the best player in the Nats, but I do like Juan Soto's individual matchup the best. And then Aaron Judge at 4,900. I like the Yankees righties here versus Perez, and Judge would be the top play for me. He owns a 286 ISO and a 469 WOBA versus lefties this season. Although that does come with a 25% K rate, but you can always put 2 over the fence. And then in the mid-range outfield, we got Nelson Cruz at 4,400. So you guys know the rules by now. You see Cruz facing a lefty, you play him. It's just what you do, especially at this price tag. CC is a good pitcher, but I'll give the advantage to the Twins righties here. And I want to say Cruz got a couple home runs off of CC as well. Then Yasiel Puig, 4,600. I doubt anyone's going to play him tomorrow, but this is a sneaky spot versus a reverse splits righty as a reverse splits batter, as Puig is actually better versus righty. So the stars are aligning here for Puig. Then Michael Brantley at 4,500. By rule of law on this channel, he's on this list facing a righty in the 4K range. That's just the rules here from now on. And then the value outfield, we have JD Martinez. I was actually going down the list. I was sorting everyone by salary, and I was just looking at the players I like, and then I saw JD Martinez at 4,100. I was like, oh my gosh, and he's facing a lefty, so I think this is going to be the chalkiest play tomorrow. He is going to be in Tampa, which isn't good, but I mean, 4,100, you cannot beat this price. I expect him to be very high owned, but man, if you stacked the Red Sox yesterday, it hurt. It really did. Tom Eshelman turned into Cy Young, a winner. Everybody had like 10 strikeouts versus them. He almost threw a no-hitter. That sucked. I did have a Red Sox stack, but man, that was rough. But short memory DFS, JD crushes lefties, and Bixby's going to come in after the opener. So I think this is the easiest play of the slate tomorrow. Then Jordan Luplow at 4,200. It looks like the Blue Jays are going to be throwing Ryan Baraki, I think I'm saying that right, on the mound. And while he isn't bad, I still love Luplow versus lefties. He's one of the best hitters in the league versus lefties this season. So he is in play for me. Not too interested in the Indian stack tomorrow, though. They're not the best versus left-handed pitching. And Adam Eaton, 4,100. Just a cheaper lefty versus Lambert. Jesse Winker, 3,900. I do prefer the righties versus Anderson, but he's an unhittable by lefties, and he should be leading off. Then Josh Manmeter, if he's in the lineup, 3K. Just if he's batting fifth again, I think that's a good value. And then if we go some of the core plays and top stacks, I've got Sonny Gray and Trevor Richards as my 2 favorite pitchers right now. Like I said, I'm going to be doing some more research and for that third pitcher I'm going to zone in on, but I'll have that available for Patreon. And then in the outfield, I do like JD 4,100. I think that's the easy play tomorrow. And this setup really leaves you a lot of wiggle room for salary, so nothing too expensive there. And then the top stacks for me are going to be the Nats, the Yankees, the Twins, and the D-backs. I believe that is it. So anyway, that's all I have for the video. Remember to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate that. I'll fill the rest out for Patreon members. And if you want to get in, hit the link in the description below, and it'll take you. You can sign up, and then you can join in on Slack and ask me all the questions you want all day. And it's a pretty fun chat. I like to talk all day in it. Nothing too serious, so but I will answer all your questions. And I wish you guys the best of luck tomorrow, and I'll see you in the next video.